Hi, grade 12s. Here are my notes on At a Funeral by Dennis Brutus, which is one of your grade 12 home language poems for 2023. At a Funeral, Dennis Brutus. Black, green, and gold at sunset, pageantry, and stubbled graves, expectant of eternity. In brides' white, nuns' white veils, the nurses gush their bounty. Of red wine cloaks, frothing the bugled, dirging slopes. Salute, then ponder all this hollow panoply, for one whose gifts the mud devours with our hopes. O all you frustrate ones, powers tombed in dirt, aborted not by death, but carry on books of birth. Arise, the brassy shout of freedom stirs our earth. Not death, but death's head tyranny scythes our ground, and plots our narrow cells of pain, defeat, and dearth. Better than we should die, than that we should lie down. The poet Dennis Brutus was born in Zimbabwe in 1924. He grew up in Port Elizabeth and had his education at Fort Hare University College. He taught high school for 14 years but was dismissed for anti-apartheid activism. He studied law and he was also at Robben Island with Nelson Mandela. He left South Africa in 1966 because he was forbidden to write or publish his work. Many of our most famous writers actually left South Africa for a period of time to be able to express their work. So At a Funeral is a tribute to Valencia Majumbosi, who died shortly after qualifying as a doctor. She died while taking part in a protest against apartheid. She was very young. Her mother had many different jobs to be able to put her through her studies. Dennis Brutus says in an interview that you can actually read the poem entirely as an expression of frustrated and aborted hopes. Right. Line 1, black, green, and gold at sunset. Pageantry. Black, green, and gold shows us that the poem is also operating on a political level. The resistance movement in South Africa has its own flag as opposed to the state flag. The resistant movement's flag was black, green, and gold. The choice of those colours at the beginning of the poem is not an accident. Also, many of the colleagues of this doctor attended her funeral wearing their university robes. These were black caps and gowns, but often with a gold hood indicating an arts degree, green indicating science. So again, you have a combination of black, green, and gold. Now, the choice of the word pageantry, I want you to think of that word and what it might represent, the tone that it creates of being showy, that yes, these are the colours of the resistance movement's flag. Yes, these are academic colours, but also having lost this life at such a young age, how ridiculous that is and what a waste that is. So yes, the flag is part of a ceremonial display, a formal ceremony with symbolic clothing and rituals. It creates an impression, though, that it is just for the show, because all of that doesn't matter now that all hopes and dreams are lost with her death. Line 2, And stubbled graves, expectant of eternity. Stubbled graves, stubble, the stalks of crops left sticking out after harvest, or the remains of a person's beard left on their face after shaving. This implies that the graves were in a state of neglect and they looked untidy, unkempt, as they are covered in dead grass stalks. Expectant, the graveyard is portrayed as being hungry. There is a personification for more bodies as death is inevitable. So the graveyard being hungry for more bodies because many people will die. And this emphasizes that we all are going to die. So, of eternity, ambiguous, this could be either the dead will remain in their graves for an eternity or the belief that the afterlife will not end. Lines 3 to 4. In bride's white, nun's white veils, the nurses gush their bounty of red wine cloaks, frothing the bugled, dirging slopes. So, gush is to flow out fast, and bounty refers to abundance. I want you to look at bride's white and nun's white veils. Bride's white, symbolic of purity, youth. So why these compound words? Think about that. Nun's white, indicating holiness. Both brides and nuns dedicate their lives to something new. Like Valentia Majombosi, she dedicated her life to becoming a doctor, and it was cut short. So, yeah, also think about the image created here. The nurse's white echoing the white worn by brides and nuns, the purity and the bounty, the abundance. It should be a very positive image of this young girl with the rest of her life ahead of her. Of red wine cloaks, frothing the bugled, dirging slopes. A dirge is a funeral song. Frothing means to bubble over. Red wine cloaks, the nurses wore cloaks lined with red. Okay, and then the Boy Scout playing the last post from the hills on a trumpet could almost make you think about our Founders' Day that we have at school. Very emotional moment. Line 5. Salute, then ponder all this hollow panoply. Panoply being a splendid display of something. So the tone in the word salute, very important. A tone of urgency, honor, tribute. To literally salute the dead as one would a soldier. The exclamation mark emphasizes that this is a command. Ponder, to think about something deeply. It's also an instruction given to the listener. Hollow, literally empty, and implies meaninglessness. And panoply, like I said, a splendid display. The speaker asks the reader to contemplate the implications of this funeral and death in general. So the reader is encouraged to look further than this display, the funeral flowers, all the people, the sad music, the flags, the pageantry. Look past that because those things lack sincerity. Line 6, for one whose gifts the mud devours with our hope. hopes. Sorry.